A military coup, an ousted government, jailed leaders, civilians being killed and protests. Months of unrest and violence. This is what Myanmar has endured in the last 6 months. So we take a look at the current state of things inside the country. Since the month of February, the military has killed almost about 1,000 of its own people who were protesting against the coup. Now, thousands of people have been arrested. Thousands of civil servants and workers have either been sacked for protesting against the coup, or they've been forced to quit so they can join the nationwide civil disobedience movement. The COVID-19 pandemic has only overwhelmed the already crumbling healthcare system, with government hospitals pretty much empty due to boycotts by the medical staff. But people continue to protest, though the intensity is nothing like the numbers that were witnessed in the month of February and March, when thousands had taken to the streets. Young protesters in Yangon still hold regular flash mobs, but even these are now getting more dangerous as protesters are being snatched by plainclothes officials. But the pandemic has put a bit of a dampener on the protests. A Myanmar research for the Human Rights Watch has said that the pandemic has put the protests on the pause.
The pandemic now has really paused the resistance a little bit, but it has definitely changed the way in which this resistance is happening. I mean, people are far more worried about COVID-19 at the moment.
We are not only facing this fascist army, but also the pandemic now. So we have to get stronger and fight as much as we can, and we will fight together against both the military and the pandemic. If this revolution wins, we will be able to claim to be the strongest people in the world.
So the question, of course, is what has the international community been doing so far? The answer is not very much. The United States, the European Union and the United Kingdom have sanctioned certain members of the military junta and the businesses linked to the military junta. But the generals are used to international isolation after having weathered sanctions for decades in the previous military regime. United Nations experts have accused the military junta of committing crimes against humanity, but so far has imposed only a non-binding resolution to prevent the flow of arms into Myanmar. Now the question is, what about Aung San Suu Kyi? Well, remember, she was put under house arrest in the month of February and has rarely ever been seen in public since then. A mix of charges have been brought against the former premier, including of illegally importing walkie-talkies and also flouting coronavirus restrictions. She could face nearly about a decade in prison if she's convicted. Though the Myanmar military has proclaimed plans to stage new elections at an unspecified time in the future, the military junta is looking to consolidate its position despite the continuing resistance to the military rule. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.